All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the daily update of my 1000 day challenge. This is day 199. So it's really how fast time has fly. We are almost hitting the 200 days tomorrow. So let's get things started. All right, so firstly, the equity is up a little bit, and that's purely based on the main trading account, main trading methodology I'm using. So it's up actually close in terms of the trailing stop loss that was for Link setup. So Link to USD pair was actually hit the trailing stop loss. There was a sudden pullback this morning in terms of crypto market. So I'm still in terms of Ethereum and Bitcoin. I'm still trading the stop losses. And it also triggered my experimental trade setup in terms of the long setup that I went, and it actually triggered a stop loss for both Ethereum and Bitcoin itself. So that's something to bear in mind. All right, and yeah, back to the daily finance itself. In terms of the market structure, as you understand, today is Monday. So I'm just going to do a very quick run through for the crypto market itself. Basically, if you have entered this trade, it's very fortunate if you have noticed. Later, I'll talk more about it. But in terms of the weekly market structure wise, we look to be really bullish still, especially with a very nice, strong bullish candle on the weekly chart, as you can see over here. So once again, we have made a new all-time high and close at the high, which is at 49714. So we really close at a high right now. And on the daily chart, even though we did close at a new all-time high, we actually had somewhat like a small bearish momentum that strikes in the day, but it was only more prevalent or more significant in terms of the hourly, 4-hourly chart. That will be more significant, as you can see. Yeah, so the drop wasn't as significant as what people will probably tell you to be, or you would see on the news per se. You measure from the peak to the bottom, you're only getting a 7.6% drop, which is not significant in my humble opinion for Bitcoin kind of volatility you get. So previously you can see over here from the peak to this peak, we also get a 9.27. So this is a very similar kind. In fact, it's even lesser. So there's less volatility, which does signify that we are still in a consolidation phase itself. So now we do form somewhat like an ascending wedge, or I personally see this more like a mixture between an ascending wedge and like an ascending triangle mix between, because we are forming higher highs and we still form a lower low. If you form the line chart, you see very nicely, this is technically a low and this is technically a higher low. Until we close below this low, technically we are still getting supported or getting supported these moving averages, although we have break below the 20 exponential moving average. If you have entered this trade, like I mentioned, the stop loss was actually at 45.8K, and you can see the low was actually at 45.915K on Bitstamp. So generally, your stop loss should have triggered and will still be sticking into this trade itself. All right, and yeah, so other than that, daily market structure remains the same. And in terms of the 4-hourly market structure, we do see some sort of bearish market structure in the near term, in the most current updated manner. So what I'm looking for is I'm actually still looking for a long entry. If you have not yet entered, so I wouldn't enter it now if I enter, and if you have not entered here, instead I'll wait for a clearer breakout, even though we do have somewhat very nice pattern now. We got an A, B, C, D, E. So if we support and break above, there'll be a very nice conviction to actually enter along. But bearing in mind that we could face some sort of a short drop first before we actually go along, since we have break the 20 exponential moving average. So if you have entered this trade, then great, I will stick to it. Otherwise, I will still wait for a nice break above this previous high that was formed. So this previous high actually hit to almost 49.8K itself. So if it does break above there, then potentially you could enter along with a stop loss right over here as well. So there is potentially another trade setup that you could look forward as well. So for me, if you have entered this trade, great. So you have entered, oh yeah. Okay, so excellent. So actually enter around here, yeah. So that would be great. So I'll just stick to this trade for the time being. And in terms of mid to long term momentum for Bitcoin, I'm still leaning towards the upside momentum. Although short term wise, we could see some sort of a further break downwards, especially that you do see some sort of stronger bearish momentum, and then volume is not picking up yet, which is still a good sign, because overall we are decreasing volume, which is very typical when it comes to consolidation period. So overall, I'm still leaning bullish, and I'm still adding in terms of long-term position wise, but the position I add is definitely getting smaller as price goes up. I definitely am decreasing my risk, because I understand that the potential rewards does diminish when the price, when you're buying in at a higher price. So that's something to bear in mind. Otherwise, that's more or less about it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.